Hello, this is Valerie Aiello, and you are listening to Idea Diary. Okay, I'm back, y'all, and ready for another show. So I did some research on failure at one time. So I wanted to study failure in a way that I wanted to know how successful people actually go through a time period when they're failing and they don't know if they'll ever be back on top. You know, the Hammer story, Vanilla Ice, I feel like fell hard fast. Rodney Dangerfield he kind of it took him a long time to be successful. There's a lot of people where they had huge success, they had it, everything was going great, and then they lost it. So one person that was kind of born into success was Donny Osmond, and he was, for most of us know, he was a teen idol sensation. He was the Bieber of the 60s, 70s, I guess. And he was 5 years old when he started working. And he was, I guess he was on television from 5 years old till 22 when he had the Donny and Marie show with his sister. So that's a huge amount of time to be successful, obviously. But from 1980 to 1989, he had nothing going on. Absolutely nothing. So that's almost 10 years of feeling like crap. And he had tried to get jobs and he tried to get back into performing, but no one wanted him. Plus, on top of it, all the money he made when he was young was all gone. It didn't really go to him. I guess his family, his family had an entertainment business, and I think all the money that was made, I'm sure you can look into the story, but for whatever reason, all that money, I think, went back into the business, and the kids, the money that they made before they were 18 was basically not there waiting for them when they turned 18. Yeah, so he was basically broke. He couldn't work anymore. He was trying to get, do things and get work, and people told him his name was Poison. So the people told him he had to change his name if he ever wanted to be successful again and just be a totally different person. And he didn't do that. But eventually there was a record label in England that thought they released an album with him, and they thought they could make money off of him, or else they wouldn't have done it. Or maybe someone at the label was just a super fan and they didn't care if they made money or not. They wanted to give him a chance. So he made this album, and I'm not sure. I think at 80, he must have recorded at 87, 88. I'm not sure when it all went down. But he recorded a song, and the song was called Soldier of Love. So with everyone thinking he's not cool anymore, a Donny Osmond fan happened to send the cassette single of the British import of Soldier of Love to a New York City radio station. So this was all fate that kind of laid out for him. And the program director at the time, she liked the song. She thought the song was good, but she was afraid to say who the artist was, because if she played the song and told everyone it was a Donny Osmond song, she was just so afraid that no one would react to it. And, she knew the song was good, but if she said this is a Donny Osmond song, she knew no one would care. So what she did was she played the song on the radio as a mystery artist. So they did not say who the artist was. They just played the Soldier of Love song. And I think for an entire week, they played the song on the radio with all this mystery behind who sings the song, and it was, people just were requesting the song like crazy, and it ended up being the number one hit. And I guess the radio stations in New York, I don't know how much of a number one hit the song was, but it was definitely a hit. People are going crazy for it. And somebody called, I guess one of Donny's friends or manager or something, someone called him and said, Soldier of Love is being played on a New York radio station. And he was like, this isn't even funny. Don't even try to tease me. His heart and his drive was just the lowest point. He just thought there was no hope for him. So whoever this person that was that called him said, no, your song's being played on the radio station and it's the number one song this week. And he didn't believe it. So anyway, they found out, kind of the whole backstory and how he was a mystery artist and they were keeping him in secret, and they got him to New York City for the unveiling of who was singing the song Soldier of Love. And he got on the show, and he announced it was Donny Osmond, and he was really afraid. And then he said the switches lit up and everyone was calling and acting like, oh, where have you been? Like they had missed him, but really he knew everyone hated him. But anyway, so it worked out. And then I guess it could have been a fluke, but then another song from the album came out, and that song was, I don't remember it off the top of my head. And anyway, the second song was a hit. Everyone loved that, and made music videos, got on MTV, and he was officially back as an entertainer. Then they released the album in America, and then he ended up getting a Broadway show. So Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat, he ended up starring in that, an Andrew Lloyd Webber musical, and he was amazing with that and sold out shows. So he was just totally back. And then he got back to, I think he made another TV show with his sister. He built his career back up. And just when it comes to failure fatigue, I feel like this is a really good story because sometimes you think, oh, I've been successful. I'm always going to be at the top. But that doesn't always happen. Sometimes you fail and you go back to the bottom, but then you pick yourself up and you keep trying. That goes, it's the same thing for people that have never felt success. Because I've had the times when I'm just like, I'm doing everything, that I've got this going on and that going on, and I'm feeling successful, and then years of just, it's all work, but when you have nothing to show, a lot of times when you're an entrepreneur, you have nothing to show for your success because a lot of it's just years and years of learning. So people it's not exciting for people sometimes. When you go to cocktail parties and you have that conversation, what do you do? That's like the worst, because really people don't really want to know what you do, and what you do is so weird and complicated, then they really don't want to know what you do if you start talking about it, unless they want to start their own businesses and do the same thing. Then sometimes people get into it. But anyways, overall, the Donny Osmond thing, that goes back to what's fate and what's effort. Because I think that whole time for the 10-year period where he had nothing going on, he was trying to work, but it just wasn't in the cards, I guess. And then that great moment happened for him where he did an album, not hoping for obviously you always hope that people like what you're doing, but he didn't have much hope. And then a fan sent his tape into a radio station, and then the whole thing exploded without him even trying. So I guess that was kind of it on that story. The Donny Osmond story, a failure, success to failure to success again. And, so let me know your thoughts, I guess, on that. There's a guy that I follow. He's a YouTuber that talks about stocks. Okay, so this guy named JJ Buckner, he just quit his job and he's going to be a full-time YouTuber. So I just wanted to put congratulations out there to the universe, and I think you should check out his video where he's kind of telling the story of how YouTube is his job now. And I'm grateful that I'm kind of realizing this, but the whole thing where your social media platforms, everyone's doing it for free, I think that might be an old thing. I don't think people should spend time anymore using Facebook and Instagram, any of these platforms where you think, if you're using it for business, you think it's free advertising and a free place to be. But I think it's much better if you because you could spend 100 years trying to promote yourself on social media platform and get no results. Whereas I don't think you could get 0 results if you monetize your social media. So like this show, for example, I'm spending 15 minutes talking to you guys, and then I'm not selling anything right now, but eventually if I have something that I want to share and I might have found like-minded people and they're listening to the show or enjoying me, maybe they're into my thing, enjoy doing a daily show and run ads on the show, and it's money, instead of just putting in another Instagram photo up or whatever it is. And, I know there are Instagram influencers and there's a lot of money to be made, but if you're not really interested in that necessarily, that I feel like it takes a lot of work to get all those followers to be an Instagram follower, and it might not be as not valuable. I don't know. Just the Instagram model thing it's probably very hard work to get to that stage. And a lot of people, I feel like there's more with audio and video. I feel like there's more room to be possibly creative. It just seems a little bit easier. Trying to just use photos to communicate. Even beautiful photos, like Peter McKinnon, he became, a famous, well, he was not a famous photographer, but he became a famous photographer YouTube that he is now a famous photographer in some way. I'm sure there's a lot of Instagram profiles that are just photography that are successful on their own, but that just seems like a really hard road to go down. Whereas if you're using audio and video with a podcast or a YouTube channel, it just seems a little easier and a lot more, there's a lot more available to you to make it super unique and possibly get people interested in your thing, whatever it is that is. I guess that's it. So yeah, check out JJ Buckner. Congratulate him on going full-time YouTube, and think about your own social media and how you can monetize it. And I also feel like smaller communities are going to be, there's something happening, I feel like, where the big platforms like Facebook and Instagram, all these places with giant, with hundreds of millions of people using it, I feel like there's going to be a shift to smaller communities that you can find that are just into exactly what you're into. So I don't know how that's going to pan out, but it was just a thought that I had listening to some other people talk about it. But I'll bring that to another show. Anyways, the show's over. Thank you so much for being here, and I still don't know how to end the show, so I'm just going to play the music.